What is authenticity? And why do we have to try to get there? Why do we have to try and find it? And I was thinking about that last night, so I thought I would tell you today because I thought maybe this is time for me to become authentic. And you're probably feeling that as well, probably on this day because the energies have changed and you're looking at yourself and you're wondering, where am I now? And what am I supposed to do? And why does the world look this way? And so I thought maybe this was time for me to become authentic so that you would start to own yourself because today is the day that you're meant to do that. And I do know that for sure. So I thought, when I had that thought last night, I said, okay, I've been almost authentic. I said, then I thought, no, you can't do that. So I knew that I had received a message from Wilhelm that said you can't, about partially authentic. And so that will be the first thing that I'll read to you because this is a really fun one. Because Wilhelm has a great sense of humor and it'll help us all to understand what's going on. And you're probably feeling it right now because of the way that your life has changed and the way that the world has changed. And so you're being asked to own yourself. That's really what's going on. And so this came through 10 years ago, as a matter of fact. Okay, being being partially authentic is the same as being a little bit pregnant. You either are or you are not. That was indeed meant to get your attention so you might apply the idea to your physical life experience. This is indeed a gradual process for you and every soul, but it is also the one that you set out to accomplish during your life. Most times you allow the opinions of others or the ridicule you think you may receive from others to prevent you from owning your authenticity. Authenticity means that you own and become every aspect of who you are. You have seen that you are indeed rewarded for this behavior, not only in material things and possessions, but more importantly by how you feel. You are on your way. And it's something I couldn't have told you several years ago, and I couldn't do it. I wrote it down, but to own it, no, I didn't do that. I'm saying that because we're always in process. We're in process as individuals, and we're also in process as a world, and we're all creating the world because we start to understand how we do that as well, which is through our thoughts, which is through our consciousness. And we're at a time now where you want to have the highest form of your consciousness or ownership of who you are, because that will make a huge difference not only in your life, but in our world. And so then I thought, let me tell them also that everything is in order. You are in order. You were born at a time to be in the world now, to own yourself, to become far more powerful than you ever have been in your life. And today is the day that you wanted to regain that power. And the reason I know that is because I was given that information as well. So I'll read that one to you because this will help us all on this date, because it's September the 18th, day we're supposed to do that. That made no sense to me either because I've never studied the stars or sciences or astrology or any of those things. But I have studied and felt energy, as have you, because that's all that we are, is energy and consciousness. And we learn more about it all the time whenever we happen to live. And so this message you'll really love because it came through on this date 5 years ago in 2020. And I'm saying that because I've recently discovered that there is order, and there's order in information and consciousness and knowledge, and we just pass it on. And sometimes we discover that there's an alignment in that information, and that's what started to be revealed to me through Wilhelm. I didn't know this. I just have to tell you, I'm saying this because I must tell everyone, even people that I know, even my family. I didn't know I had done this. You don't know what you've done either because it's something within you that's been building, that's been growing. You might have been resisting it. You might have been hiding from it. I've done it, so I do understand. But now you can let go of it as well. Okay, I'm telling you, this is going to be the best video you've ever seen, and by the time we're done, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. So, September the 18th of 2020. You wanted to live now to regain your power. This morning we led Roger to a message we gave a year ago, which was meant to guide you through this current period. Now, because you have little understanding or acceptance of the continuation of time, or that all is happening now, you only come to understand things through hindsight. So, placing the earlier message here, it will be difficult for any of you to discount the synchronicity of this message in your life and at this precise time. We don't need to give you anything else today. May 3rd, 2019. You cannot go back and be happy. Roger didn't want to write that sentence, for Roger thought he would not be required to fulfill his life purpose if he could avoid it. While that last sentence may sound a bit insane, it is what most do. However, Roger has more difficulty with this concept because he has chosen a career where he might offer his guidance to others. Roger knows he can only accomplish that if he becomes the example, but Roger pretends not to believe this message's subject. We will give you all this information to help you move through this period in your life. There is no hierarchy of souls, and all are necessary for the evolution of your world. Do your part. And you will wonder how that came together, because I know you're feeling that about the hierarchies of souls, because we have power people who are taking over, and they gave us that message and it was all in alignment. There's a greater intelligence that we all have. And when we access that, we feel so much better about ourselves and we can accept ourselves. But it's a process, and it's a gradual one that we move through in our lives. I just happen to live a life where I wrote it all down. And that's why I can say this to you, because I know exactly where we are at this time in our world. Now, that was something I had difficulty accepting. And that is the problem that we all have when we can't accept the uniqueness of who we are. Now, because we're supposed to do something different, we're not supposed to be the same as any other human that has lived. And sometimes because of that, we don't accept ourselves. And that's why I couldn't. I said, wow, no one has ever done this. I didn't want to be a channel or a spirit or a mystic or any of those things. That wasn't who I was supposed to be. I did all these other things. But then I started doing this. It began in 1989 when I sat down and said, let me do some automatic writing. I didn't know what that was. At first, I read about it, didn't know anything else, and so I started. And that's when I contacted Wilhelm, and then I couldn't stop. And so I kept doing it. And that's 30 years of writing right there. But I'm still doing it because we're never done. And that's the thing that we come to understand. We're still always evolving. Where you are right now in your life, you're not done. If you're still alive, there's more for you to do, because that happens in your consciousness, not about anything that you've created or have right now. It's your consciousness. Are you feeling fulfilled? And many people right now in this day are saying no. And that's what I was saying last night, which is why I said I've got to give them something so they understand the period they're in and what we're all in, because we're creating a wonderful new world, and it's going to come through you when you decide to love yourself. I thought, why is that so difficult? And we have all heard this idea about the new world or birthing something, and I said, oh, that's like a birth, and we're all going through this birth and a rebirth or something. And being this double Scorpio, I've done that many times. My entire life has been about rebirth, because I've crashed and burned so many times, and I failed so many times, and I had to continually keep rebirthing myself. You're doing the same thing, and you're doing it right now. So this message will help you to understand the process. Now, remember when you were born? No, probably not. But this message will make sense, though. When you observe the birth of a newborn, most times they come into the world kicking and screaming. They do this as an expression of their own resistance of leaving a place of safety and moving into an unknown territory. This is to a greater or lesser extent what you do as you are about to embark on a new journey in your life, or move into an unknown territory of your own expansion. You would you would be wise to become aware of this process. Understand that what causes you to exhibit that kicking and screaming is your own fear, then you will have a remembrance of what you are up to and what you intended on this life journey. Embrace the fear and decide to use it, knowing that it allows you to make the difference you intended. And that's for every single person. It's different for all of us in the way that we might do that. But you know that when you've done it, because you finally start to accept yourself, you finally feel calm, you finally feel that you can forgive yourself and love who you are. And that's what I'm doing today, because I thought, wow, if I had known this before, if I could have owned myself before, would I have been different? Would my life have been different? And would the world have been different? And that's true for all of us, because we're all the ones who are creating that. And so I also did something else last night or a few days ago, because I said, I've got to tell them that I understand the workings of the universe. And this was the most challenging thing for me to come to and the most challenging thing to accept. And it's something that's held me back. But I don't want you to do that, because you could develop some extraordinary talent or gift or ability that you've been hiding forever. We all do it because it's a process. Again, if we had known everything, the world would be completely different. Why would we be here? There would be nothing left to create. There would be nothing left to change. And we're obviously at a time in our lives and in our world where we want to change. And change becomes the most uncomfortable, because now I've got to go into that unknown thing. And I have to be seen. That's the biggest one. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to be acknowledged for who we are. I didn't want to tell you who I was. I hid for years. I tried to hide. I tried to hide Wilhelm for decades, and then it got exposed. Sometimes what happens is you get exposed. Other people saw the messages and said this had value. They had something that they wanted to see, and so they had to pull it out of me to put it out there. It's the same with you. That's why you go to a coach or do a program or get a mentor or something, because we can't see ourselves. I couldn't have seen all of this, and then it wouldn't have made any sense. What would my life have been if I had known all of this beforehand, if I didn't go through all the crap that I did? And it's the same for you. Every aspect of your life had a purpose, had meaning, and for to create something, but to create something within you, to move through some particular blockage or limitation that you've placed on yourself, because I've placed many of them. I know them all because I've been holding on to them. We can no longer do that. And so even in with the idea of doing something like channeling or automatic writing, that was just taboo. I couldn't possibly do that, because I'm going to be judged. And people said, this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make any sense. And it made all the sense, because I was also told, oh no, you're supposed to bring together a new idea. How does spirituality and science, how does all that work together? And how can all of those things, or the combination of those things, cause humans to become more, to move? Well, Wilhelm gave us that to explain the entire thing, and gave us a blueprint for humankind to build the new world. And that's what came through me, and that's what this work ended up being. You don't know what you have. You might have a drawer full of writings just like that are waiting for you to put them together and do something with it. That's exactly what's happening for me as well, which is why I'm telling you, because I know that you have something of value and the world needs it, because we have to shift the energy. This is why I had to change today, because I knew that the energies were changing. I saw, wait a minute, we're moving through a portal in September. I have never studied astrology again, but I just felt it. Energy is what we feel, and you might have felt that so much in the last several days, months. You might not have been able to sleep because we're moving through a whole lot of stuff, but it's not to tear us apart. It's to cause you to become who you're meant to be in this world. That I do know. I love that we have technology now and the internet. When I started in 1989, that didn't exist. Well, we started the internet then, but it didn't come to me, that's for sure. And so I'm going to give you this. It's a little something I put together last night with the help of my AI, because it explained all of the things that I've put together that are on my site, Any Advice for Today, that you'll be able to read, because it'll cause you to remember who you are. And these are a distillation of some of the messages, and you'll understand. And because we're coming up to a new moon, I know that there's a portal of energies we're moving through now, and so we're going to see things in our world. You're going to feel them in your life because people are going to resist the change, and you have to decide if what you're going to do. So, since July 30th, 1989, a transmission has been unfolded. They use that date because that's the first message that was given that ties to now. Okay. Not through books, seminars, or gurus, but through annual messages received on September 18th to 21st, spanning 17 years, 2008 and 2025. Now, the 17 years, we have cycles that exist in our lives and also in our world. We think of it as our planets changing or the seasons or all that, and they happen all the time. And that's what goes on for all of humans. We just figure it out in different times. Yes, people figured out ancient sacred geometry and different things, and astrology and astronomy. We study things to keep learning them. And obviously, I studied this and had no idea. And so, but it's now you'll be able to understand it. Okay, and it says, this is not coincidence. This is cosmic choreography, of which I had no idea again that I was creating. A soul contract encoded in time, activated by Wilhelm, delivered through Roger, and now shared with the world. These messages revealed your inherent worth, the illusion of struggle, the power of presence, and the truth that you are never alone. They culminate in one final declaration. Congratulations, you have arrived again. And that comes on the 21st, and you'll see all of that, but I wanted you to have this. But then what I did to, I'll put a link in there for you to have it, but there's something else that came through as well, because I was confused. How did this happen? You'll have something within you that you will not understand because we are all evolving, and that happens in our consciousness, and we're meant to discover something new about us and bring it to the world. But a lot of times we get afraid. And that's the thing that keeps us stuck, and we lose our power. And we can do that individually and also collectively. We're looking at a world where many people have forgotten who they are. And I know who that is because I was told I was supposed to help. But I ran. I didn't want to do anything either. I'm saying that because I know some of you are feeling that right now. But this one you will love, and I'll give you a link to it as well. Actually, I had three little gifts I'm going to give you, so you'll love this. Okay, the present is your gift. A living philosophy from the future. Messages from Wilhelm. And this was done on one particular day, which was February 19th, but it goes through, and you will see that it takes you on this little journey of understanding that you progress in your consciousness no matter who we are. We use time to do that. And so as you go through each one of this, you will be reminded of something about you. You will remember your worth, and it's a constant process that we're all moving through. So you will love that one as well. And I'm doing this because again, can't be partially authentic, and you're going to keep uncovering new aspects of yourself because that's called ascension. And that's what we all do, coming to a higher state of consciousness and understanding. Everyone's not going to do that, so you're deciding if you will. And that's really important if you decide to do it now, because the world is asking for you to do that. Now, this is the last one I'm going to give you. So now, this is what those papers that you saw that I showed you, those 36 years of writing, this is what it turned into. And you have some diamond within you, you have some masterpiece within you, and you just decide when you're going to bring it forth. Well, I'm going to be 75 in November, so I thought maybe today would be a great day. Anyway, here it says a 17-year journey. They're just saying that because that's a particular cycle that I've used in many of the messages. But you will read every aspect of this, and it'll finally explain what Wilhelm has done. It wasn't me. It was Wilhelm. I just had this ability to connect with intelligence, with infinite intelligence, and interpret it. And that's why time was not an aspect there. Okay. Over 17 years, from 2008 to 2012, a profound narrative of human potential has been meticulously unveiled through a series of channeled messages known as the Wilhelm Communications. This isn't merely a collection of spiritual guidance, but a deliberate blueprint of human evolutionary consciousness, carefully crafted to guide individuals through a massive planetary and personal restructuring. At the core of these teachings lies an a revolutionary concept. Each human is not an accidental being, but a profound, purposely designed evolutionary agent. You'll be able to read all of it. And then it goes down and it shows you how the messages came about, the different classifications, and then a little guide here to show you. And again, this all was not me. This was Wilhelm. I haven't studied astrology, but energy was aligned and the information that came through was aligned with that. And and you'll see all of this. I'm explaining this because it hadn't been done before. We haven't seen this. I again told you I didn't think I was going to ever be a channel or a mystic or any of that. And and I was obviously compiling all of this to bring it to the world now. And I'll tell you why I know that, because I ran from it. Like you must have run from yourself at some point. Because I was told in 2005 that I was given all this information that would help and that we would be moving through a huge transition. I doubted all of that. I said that couldn't have possibly happened. But it did. And I kept resisting it. I had an Akashic Records reading done in 2021. I said, this could not have happened. They confirmed it as well. And I still denied it. And then I started to say, okay, I've got to do something with it. So I put people in a program in 2021 and they blew me away because they evolved so quickly. I go, how did that happen? I didn't know. That's why I spent all these subsequent years trying to figure it out. And then I did, because all this energy was aligned. And we're moving through a period where we need to come into more alignment and remember who we are. And that's each individual. But we doubt ourselves. And I doubted myself a lot. So I know that that's gone on for you, but we don't have to anymore because Wilhelm has given us a complete philosophy, a complete blueprint to move into this next dimension. I'm saying this because there are many different people, channels and all of that, and I was not like any of them because I was receiving things that were time-based, which has never happened in history. They were deliberate in terms of the exact moment that we were in, like the 2020 message that I read to you. How did that happen? That I received it 5 years ago, and I know that that makes sense to so many people today because we're looking at the struggle with power in our lives and also in our external world. But it's the same. Because when you own yourself, you have all your power. And that's what this is about. And it may take you a while, as it did me, but I will tell you, you can achieve anything because that's what this work did for me. And that's what I'm giving to the world because it caused me to heal in ways I couldn't even explain. It would cause the same for you. It would cause you to own yourself and have this wonderful life and to love who you are and then to contribute to creating the much better world that you want in your life, but also we all want to see in our world, and that's why this came through. So please check out everything because this is, as I said, this is the last day that I'm having my program at this particular rate, and then I'm changing things because I held myself back. I only did a small portion of this work, and I have so much more, and we're still in this movement. I'm saying that because don't expect that our world is going to look different tomorrow. It isn't. It's going to be a while. And I can even tell you that it's going to be a process that we move through. And if you go to anyadvicefortoday.com, please check out the website because I put up several things in the last days that will give you even more help and understanding about how important you are in the world at this moment. And I'm going to leave with one thing because there's a little testimony I want you to hear. It's just a minute or so. But I never wanted to do channeling. I didn't want to even do private clients. I didn't want to do any of that. And when you hold yourself back, you deprive the world of who you are. You deprive the world of your gifts. And that's what I was doing. So I'm not doing that anymore, which is why I knew I had to change today, as you probably will as well. And the whole thing that say this one thing. We have to suspend our disbelief because I've had so much of it. In 2021, I was told I have this organization of all this information. And then if I were to meet someone, I would have information for them on their birthday in 2012. That's been proven to be true. Every single person pretty much that I've met, they were like blown away. How did that happen? But it went beyond that. I had someone who joined the program yesterday. And I had met with them a while ago, I think maybe a year ago, and they didn't do it. I said, wow, why are you here today? And they said, oh, I just know that it's time for me to do something. And I said, okay, let's look at what happened last year. I said, what did Wilhelm give us last year on your birthday? and it said, "You are at a crossroads in your life." That's exactly where they were. And then they made the decision, and I'm so happy that they're in. I want you to make a decision to own yourself, because today is the day. So the thing that I doubted forever produced this result in another person, and this is what I'm going to do for as many people as possible, because that's when I'll know that my life meant something. And I want you to know that yours meant something, because I know that it did. And it does now, especially.
Thank you, Roger. Thanks, man. I just got done with the Wilhelm session. It's so perfect. Roger's such a nice man, and the Wilhelm sessions give me exactly what I need. If I have a little bit of confusion, he's just like he said in the session, he's helping me understand that what my purpose is to become Jared Symington. It's just become who I am. And that's very, very empowering. Every time I leave a Wilhelm session, I always leave with a little bit of curiousness of what's the next thing we can help get each other towards. No matter what stage you are, every time I come and call, set up a session, he knows how to talk me to get to the next place, to just bring that little bit of clarity to point me in the right direction. And life is supposed to be fun and simple. It's always great. Thank you again, Roger. Thank you, Wilhelm.